Inquiry into state capture resumes this morning. However, the Commission is mum on who will testify. The inquiry will hear testimony from sitting government ministers for the first time, with the Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene expected to give evidence next Wednesday. Meanwhile, DA leader Mmusi Maimane is leading a picket outside the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, demanding senior members of the ANC who have been implicated in the Commission so far to testify. Now, for more on this, we cross live to our reporter Mzwandile Mbeje, who's at the Commission. Mzwai, thank you very much indeed for your time. Who is this mystery person that's going to testify? Do we know anything about that?
Of course, the name suggests that no one knows at this stage, Blaine. When the Commission adjourned last week, they told us about someone who does not want to be identified at this stage. But as soon as the Commission resumes at 10, we will be in the clearer picture as to know who that particular individual will be. But as you've mentioned in your intro there, Blaine, of course the DA is here in full force, and the leader of the DA, Mmusi Maimane, is already here. We will actually hear from the DA what is it that they are doing here, because I guess they would rather perhaps be inside and presenting their own evidence. Mr. Maimane, you are here outside the Commission. You've made it very clear that you want particularly many of the ANC people to come and testify. Just give us a quick update. So what are you doing here?
Thank you. And our view is that state capture is an ANC project. If we want to eradicate state capture in South Africa, we must deal with the architect of state capture, which is the ANC. So notice that everybody who is appeared before the Commission is an ANC person. Frankly, if we're going to... So we've come here today, we've written a letter from our lawyers saying, from the Secretary General to the President of the ANC, to all the respective ministers who are there, they must all come and appear here. Because it can't be that professional civil servants get held accountable. If you want to eradicate state capture, let's deal with the ANC. It's the architect of corruption. That's why we're here.
Is there any possibility, perhaps, in terms of the information that you may have, that may lead you to perhaps come physically and also testify?
Absolutely. We'd written previously, my colleagues who are here, even from Parliament, we've written previously to say we want to come through and present evidence. We were the original complainants. Remember when SABC Jonas raised this concern, we started with the public protector, we proceeded with the litigation on the matter. Now we can't come to a commission that will absolve the ANC of its duties. It is corruption, we must deal with it, and if we need to come here and present our argument, that's why we've come. I've written to the Commission to say we're happy to come and present our own evidence, because it's about time now. If we're going to rid South Africa of corruption, let's deal with the ANC.
So far, what's your take on the proceedings of the Commission?
I think the Commission is doing an admirable job. It's invited, it's conducted itself. It's obviously a lot more work still needs to be done, and I welcome the Commission. We called for it, we challenged Jacob Zuma to table it, even though he denies the fact that there is such a thing as State Commission. We are trying to add support to Judge Zondo, to say don't just stop here. There are many people. And ultimately, how do we make sure as a society that state capture never happens again? This commission is investigating what is happening at state-owned enterprises. Remember, state capture also happens at municipalities. Municipalities are being captured, money is being stolen, and ultimately we want to rid South Africa of this concept, ultimately. So we are here to make it quite clear. I want the ANC and its leadership to come and stand here. As the banks have testified, so must the ANC.
You are a leader of a political party, and time and again you do engage with these political leaders, particularly the leaders of the ANC, as you have said. Have you perhaps spoken to them? Have you spoken to the president, or have you spoken to other members really that you do come across to say go and assist the Commission? And the Commission itself has been saying it wants more people to come forward.
Absolutely. And obviously when it comes to the question of corruption and accountability, I do not stand side by side with people in the ANC who want to practice corruption. I speak to their leaders, I challenge them. I say, in the interest of South Africa, go to the Commission. Go tell us. When the banks appeared before Gwede Mantashe, surely he must tell us. When back then Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was the chair of the Interministerial Committee on State-Owned Enterprises, and these boards were being appointed, he must come and testify what happened. This will help. You can't say dealing with corruption is dealing with a faction of the ANC, because state capture is not a factional issue. It's a political party issue. And therefore, in execution of that mandate, we are calling upon the whole ANC to come and say to the people of South Africa what they know about corruption, and let them come. And as a unified organization, they must come and be united in presenting their side, so that we know how they achieve state capture.
But when you speak to them and say they need to come here, what do they say?
Well, in general, obviously, there is a view that says, no, state capture is only but a faction. And they want to say, well, deal with that faction or deal with them. It's not a factional issue. It's a party issue. And I want the ANC to account as a party, not as a faction. I'm not here to defend the elective conference of the ANC in December. I'm here to fight for the resources of the people of South Africa, to say, here's an organization that captured the state, gave us a president who was captured by a family. Let the organization that captured the state come and appear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maimane. There was Mmusi Maimane, the leader of the DA, really giving us his take as they pile on the pressure outside the commission here. So they want more ANC leaders, Blaine, to come and testify. He has made it clear that as far as he's concerned, state capture really has to do with the ANC, and the ANC must come in account, Blaine.
Yeah, remember the ANC released a statement saying that they won't give running commentary and probably going to comment at the end of the commission. Have you heard anything? What's the latest you've heard from the ANC?
I think from the ANC, basically, what they've been saying is that given that there are a number of issues or a number of things that are being said over the course of the commission, so they would rather sit and wait, because giving a running commentary may send mixed signals. It may confuse a lot of people. So I guess perhaps Blaine, they would wait in the event the judge issues, let's say, someone wants some of them to come before the commission to really come and testify. But as far as the situation stands now, so they haven't said anything. But of course, certain individuals have been saying if they are called, they will be ready to come and testify. Last week, the Secretary General of the ANC, Isma Khashule, said if there's a need for him to come, for whatever reason, he is ready and he is available. So we will then hear from the chairperson, really, Judge Zondo, when he resumes the proceedings today. So what is it that he has in mind? What does he think? So do people cooperate enough? And then from there, I think we'll take the process will be taken forward.
Mr. Maimane has described the commission, saying it's doing a admirable job. From your experience on the ground, what's the sentiment, Mzwai? Are people taking this commission seriously?
Of course, people are taking the commission seriously, and I think perhaps what has been the concern, and I guess is the concern of many South Africans, is that there has not been a good number of people coming forward. Remember, this issue was very, very topical in the news, and people saying there's state capture, people releasing a number of reports in this regard. But even the judge himself has been saying anyone with the information that can assist must come forward. Perhaps as much as everyone really appreciates the work that the commission is doing, but there is that concern that perhaps not a good enough number of people is willing to come forward and assist the commission.
Yeah. So we know that we have Nhlanhla Nene coming up, we have Pravin Gordhan coming up, as well as, is it Barbara Hogan as well?
Yes, when we adjourned last week, the commission was told that some of the very important people, and I think South Africans would really want to hear from them, the current Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene is scheduled to come to the commission next week on the 3rd, and of course the former Finance Minister and who is now the Public Enterprises Minister, Minister Pravin Gordhan, will be coming on the on the 10th. And with regards to the former minister, Barbara Hogan, so we expect her to be here on the 15th. So those are the people we can say they are confirmed for now. But as the commission continues with its work, so we expect a number of other people really to come. Like today, we probably would get an update as to who else will be willing and ready to come to the commission plane.
What time it's kicking off from Mzwai? 10 o'clock, you say?
The commission starts at 10 o'clock.
All right. Mzwandile Mbeje, thank you very much indeed for your time live from Parktown in Johannesburg.